basically it with Tommy Boy.
99, the 10-year anniversary came out. Was that basically the Tommy Boy album you guys put out on your own?
Basically, with a few things that sprinkled in there that we had did after the Tommy Boy situation. A few things like we were in a transitional thing, so we were still working uh, together, and we were still doing tracks, but we didn't have a label, and we didn't really know where we were going to be going with them. So the anniversary one, the 1999 anniversary joint, actually had songs that were going to be on the album with Tommy Boy, and it also had tracks produced by my man Seb, who's nasty too in his own right. He's worked with a few people. My man DJ Seb. Peace to my man Seb if you are with us and you watching us. My man LDR, my man Lou. That's a guy that I actually connected with after the Tommy Boy thing, and we wound up doing a few things together. I did an EP with him called "Let the World Know," and I did a mixtape, which is not easy to get, but it was basically just me like freestyling over other beats. It was just like basically one long cipher, you know what I'm saying? But I
Right.
called it a mixtape, but it was just basically me rhyming over everybody else's beats, and it was just like for me, like a purge, like to release all of that energy that I had um, from not being able to come out the way that I wanted to come out, and things not working out the way that I thought that they would work out with Tommy Boy, you know. So a lot of that was at that time me transitioning and purging all of that bent up frustration and energy that was in me, and the songs was coming out that way, and I was still in my mode and in my zone, but I was definitely like purging all of that stuff that that had built up from those years. So
Right.
the 1999 joint was the album that would have been on Tommy Boy plus a couple of other things.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the status of Natural Elements going into your stimulated deal?
Okay, the status of that stimulated deal came about while we were still on Tommy Boy, and I had to get permission to do that song. If I remember correctly, I had to like we were still on Tommy, but there was some label politics that was going on, so we hadn't been officially released. But at the same time, they were letting us do little solo things. So that one was interesting because that came about because with Dante Ross, right? So Dante Ross has a label that he's um, doing called Stimulated Dummies, and he knows that we're signed to Tommy Boy um, as a group, so he can't mess with us as a group no more. But he came to me and he was like, "Yo, Vu, I always really liked the way that you hit it on those songs, and I want to do something with you." So he approached Theo, of course, Theo Saddlemeyer again, my man Theo. He's definitely, he definitely is the man that connects you. So he approached Theo, and Theo approached my manager at the time, Trevor Baldwin, and said, "Yo, Dante wants to do a single with Vu, and he's got a new producer by the name of Alchemist that he wants Vu to work with." So Trevor came to me and he was like, "Yo, Dante Ross wants you to do a single, Vu, but you can't get the beat from Charlamagne." You can't get the beat from Charlamagne. He wants you to work with his producer, his man. So I was like, who do you want me to work with? I like Alchemist. I was like, Alchemist? Who the hell is Alchemist? I don't know who that is. You know what I'm saying? Little did I know who he would become. You know what I'm saying? But I say, yo, if it's dope, then let's do it. You know? So we wound up, doing the thing. I wound up getting with Alchemist. Now, Alchemist, he don't just give you beats. Like, I don't know how he works now, but back then he didn't just give you beats. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember having to go to his crib. He had his ASR 10, I think it was an ASR. And can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, he had an ASR 10. He had the whole setup. And what he would do is he would play you the beats there, right? Sometimes he would even be in the process of making beats. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't do beat tapes or anything like that. You know, so I remember going to his crib and spending time with him at his where he was at, and we would run through beats and we would run through ideas. You know what I'm saying? And then finally we came to it, and he came to me with the beat for Lyrical Tactics Part 3, The Final Conflict. And what I was thinking about when I did it was, um, I, I don't know, for some reason, I kept thinking Damien, the Omen, like Armageddon, like the end of world. Like, I'm just going to, like, destroy everybody and everything with this one, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's where my mind was at, and that's where I came out with the thing, like turn to takes the Chronicles, turn to page 666. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't to be on no demonic shit or nothing like that, but it was just to say that I'm out to bring Armageddon with these lyrics. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how we came we came with that. When he came with the beat and I heard it instantly, I was like, yeah, this is it. You know what I'm saying? So we did that, and then we did Crime Life. Now the thing about Crime Life was that song was something that I had on a demo, and the original song was produced by Charlamagne. And what Charlamagne had did was he had flipped this Denise Williams sample, Black Butterfly. It was crazy, crazy. If you ever, if you, there is, there is a demo tape release that I licensed through some other cats, where I think they may have that song on there, but I'm not sure. All right, but I but I'm just gonna say for GP, it's never been released, and the only cats that heard it were the cats that were listening to the radio at the time that was playing those demos. But I decided to parlay that energy into a song with Alchemist. And what it was, and that's how Crime Life came. So we have Final Conflict, Lyrical Tactics Part 3, and Crime Life. And it came out a pretty solid thing. But I'm always feel privileged to be one of the first MCs that worked with Alchemist, I'm
Right.
gonna give you a funny story. I'm gonna give you a funny story. So we in the studio, and Alchemist and Al is hyped. He's like, yo, I was in the studio with, you know, I'm bonding with the mob, and they feeling my beats, and we doing. And he said, yo, I got this song, man. He says it's with Mob Deep and Cool G Rap, and he played the song for us that was on Mobb Deep's album Murder Music with Cool G Rap. Bootleg Liquor on a Sunday. He put
Sunday night.
yeah, and I was like one of the first. I guess we might have been one of the first cats that was privileged to hear that song before it made it. You know what I'm saying? And that's an ill story. When I heard that, I was like, yeah, he's going to be a problem. Alchemist is going to be a problem. The
Right.
realest shit you heard in your life. That's right. It be the realest shit you heard in your life. Yo, when I heard G Rap's verse, I was like, this dude, is he gonna fall off? He can't fall off. You know what I'm saying? You know, so yeah, I was kind of I. That's an ill story. I was amped about that, but then right then and there, I knew I had been privileged to be one of the first dudes to work with that dude because he was going to be special.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this the point where Mr. Voodoo starts to pursue a solo career? And can you explain the name change?
No. It actually, I actually had no intent of ever, ever leaving Natural Elements as the group. It's NE for life. Um, I didn't even think about anything on the solo tip. You know, I was just kind of curious, like I don't know. I was conflicted. You know, I didn't know where I wanted to go with this. I didn't even know if I wanted to continue to do it. You know what I'm saying? Um, as a matter of fact, you know, Swigger and A had to do like an intervention on me, like you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you got to get up out the cave, get out of your hole, and come out and join us, man. They asking about you. They want you. It's not over for you. You know what I'm saying? So um, I was in a curious place. I was trying to figure out like what the fuck I was really going to do with this. You know, um, the stimulated dummies thing with Dante Ross and Alchemist was actually in a transitional time too because we didn't know what was going on with Tommy Boy, what they was going to do. Are they ever going to put the album out? You know, it was a lot of confusion. I had things going on in my life. Swigger had things going on in his life. A had things going on in his life. So it was a really a tumultuous, you know, time for us, you know. So when we were released from Tommy Boy, it was like, damn, like, you know, what do we do now? You know what I'm saying? You know, we didn't have the vision and the foresight, and we also weren't as mature as we are now. You know,
Right.
had we had that, you know, we would have been able to really like move decisively after that and really make shit happen. But we didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Right.
for the most part, you know, we fell back. You know. That's right, a necessary fallback. That's right, Swig, a necessary fallback. To regroup, you know, restructure, um, rethink the whole thing, you know. Swigger became Swigger, you know. He came into who he was. Finally, you know, he came into who he was and what the universe and what the Most High had for him. Same thing with A. Same thing with me, you know. And then now we were able to come back into this thing, you know, with a different outlook, not only on life, but on business and the way that this thing is. So I wasn't sure whether or not I was really thinking about doing any solo thing. It never crossed my mind that I would not do anything without NE, natural elements. That never crossed my mind. You know what I'm saying? We
Right.
fell back, we got into our own things, but it was always NE. And when A and Swigger, you know, came to me, you know, they were doing I think they were doing the two-face thing and they were doing their thing too, you know. So we all are like kind of like trying to figure out, you know, what it is that it's going to be. But A and Swigger came to me and said, yo, Voo, we got to do this. You know, we got to do this. It's the universe or whatever. We got to do this, man. And they was like, you know, for me, I was in a place where I was like seriously like, you know, I'm working. Um, it's a decent situation. Maybe I'll just ride off into the sunset. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
you know, A and Swigger, they kept at it, you know, and they kept telling me, yo, nah, man, you need to go here. You need to see this. You made an impact, man. People are still talking about you. You know, people are still talking about us. So I got on YouTube and I was amazed to see that they were right. You know, people were doing things that, you know, and so that, you know, that's how it came, you know.
Right. You dropped the Come Up in 2002. You also formed Hemlock Records. Can you take us back to that process?
Yeah, that was a transitional thing for me too. I was thinking along the lines of maybe starting to do things on my own independently as a solo artist, right? That was right sort of after we were released from Natural Elements, late 90s, early 2000s. Very instrumental people in my life that kept me going when I wanted to quit. And one of those brothers who I have to take the time to give um, blessings and thanks and everything to is my man LDR, my man Lou. Now, I met Louis through work. I'm the type of cat that I've always been humble. I come through, I don't let too many people know what I'm doing. So he didn't even know that Mr. Voodoo worked. You know what I'm saying? He found out through another dude on the job. He was like, yo, he pointed to me. He was like, you didn't know? That's him right there. And, you know, Louis, he was like, yo, get the fuck out of here. He was messed up because he had known who we were. He'd been playing our records and all of that. So we got to talking and we built a friendship and a rapport. And I would go up to his place where he had a little studio set up and we would just play around with shit, you know. I would drop a couple verses on his beats. He had crazy beats, and that's how we connected, you know. And
Right.
through him, he gave me the motivation to keep going, truthfully. And it was a reciprocal thing because I motivated him to, you know, step his game up and get better at what he's doing and do a lot more with what he's doing because he had crazy talent. He has crazy talent. And he motivated me to keep going as far as writing lyrics and staying in the lyric, you know, staying in the game in that way. And he's another one of those dudes that just was like, yo, Vu, you can do it. Yo, you can do it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't let that shit fuck with you. You can do it, you know? And so, like, he gave me that motivation too and kept me, and that's how those things came about, you know, through that transitional period where I was like, kind of wanted to do it, but kind of didn't want to do it, and was kind of like losing that feeling for it. And that's how Hemlock Records, the come up came up. The come up was actually a freestyle. He gave me the beat, and I had said, yo, prior to us recording it, I had just recorded like a freestyle over it. I just wanted it to be like a one verse like freestyle or something like that. And we transitioned, and when we decided that we were going to do a white label thing with it, um, it transitioned into becoming a song, you know. And that's how that came about, basically.
The project also on that label, Let the World Know, was that some of your older stuff?
Um, Let the world know that was not really older stuff. With Let the World Know, there was Let the World Know, which was a demo that was played on Mayhem Show and other radio shows. J Smooth, Underground Railroad, always. I mean, he had first dibs on everything. You understand? Because that was my man. That's where I started. So You were probably hearing a lot of the demos and stuff that I was doing at that time. And Let the World Know, the original one, had my man Swigger on the chorus, and he was like, "I'm gonna let the world, let the world know," you know what I'm saying? And it had a different beat. So me thinking along those lines, I said, okay, well, what I'm trying to do is let the world know that I'm still here and nothing's changed. Um, so let's let me just use that as a kind of a launch pad into the new material that I'm doing. So the Let the World Know was basically the first thing that we did off of that. And what that basically was to basically let people know that I'm still around, let the world know that I'm still, doing what I'm doing. Now, some of the other songs, those were songs that I had. Those were rap. That was new material. That
Okay.
was new material, right? So it was just a mixture and a blend of some of the old stuff. I wanted to see what I wanted to do, and what I'm always doing. I'm always thinking about the people who were there from day one, that remember those demos, that remember the freestyles, because that's what got me where I was. So all of the people that have been, and all of the supporters, I don't like to use the word fan, you know what I'm saying, because I don't look at myself in that way. But I like to call the people who have listened to me and that have, really pumped my shit and followed through. I like to call them supporters, you know what I'm saying? And even comrades, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I always thought of them when I did my stuff. And I always wanted to make that connection that, yo, this is actually for y'all. I ain't forget y'all. I love y'all for, keeping that out there, keeping the name and keeping that thing out there for me.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically what that is.
Thanks to Chopped Herring Records, a lot of your demos and music is now available to those who may have not known about you or have, been looking for your music. Can you take us back to the deal with Chopped Herring and how that came about?
Yeah, that's another thing. Um, that actually, Chop Herring was actually through, I believe it was through Swigger. Um, what had happened was he had always wanted those demos that he heard on the radio show, but I didn't have possession of them. I didn't have any of that. And what's crazy is, while we actually had made some tapes and some stuff where okay, this is how it, shit is crazy. When when we went to uh, Denmark, right? We went to perform uh, through DJ Eclipse and some other people at this thing called Rock Skill. But there's a rap part. It's basically a rock festival or something like what Lollapalooza would be or something like that now. But there's a rap part of it. So we went to Denmark to perform in that festival, and we hit other spots throughout Scandinavia. But we had a tape that we made. We called ourselves um, selling merch,
Mm.
right? But we kind of did it like the do-it-yourself way. You know what I'm saying? Like we had a demo tape. We did a tape with all of Swigger's demos and A's demos and my demos, just a tape that had everything on it, right? And we were selling them when every spot that we went to, we would sell them. So that tape was floating around. Um, uh, so long story short, the guy at Chopped Herring had always wanted to do a release with those demos, but I didn't have that tape anymore. I didn't have that tape. I didn't have possession of any of that stuff, which is crazy. I all that stuff that I did, I didn't have possession of none of that stuff. I tried to find out Charlemagne had it. He didn't have possession of none of that stuff. None of
Mm.
us had possession of that stuff. So it was dead in the water. Dead in the water. It wasn't going to happen. So years and years and years go by, and I get a call or I get a guy reaching out to me on Facebook who's like, "Yo, you remember me from Chop Herring all those years ago?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do kind of." And he was like, "Well, yo, check this out. I happened to secure one of those tapes that y'all was selling while y'all were out on tour in Denmark. And I wanted to know if you were still interested in doing, a licensing thing with me." So I said, well, if you find it, get him in and hit me back, and we'll see what happened. I didn't really think nothing of it, but he wound up hitting me back, and he wound up, finding those, and wound up being able to secure it. And he kind of tried to clean it up the best way he can, and that's how the Chop Herring demos came about. You know, that's
Very dope.
you know?
So throughout the years, you guys re-released, I believe, 1999 for the 20th anniversary, and Death comes in threes. Can you catch us up on what Natural Elements has been up to these years and the status of Mr. Voodoo?
Recording, right? When the pandemic came, it slowed everything down for us, but we were recording. We were in the studio recording every month. We made um, sort of an agreement that we would have to go into the studio a certain number of times a month to record things out of our live whatever schedules that we had. We were definitely and we are definitely in the process of basically taking control of all of the stuff that's ours and putting it out ourselves. We are in the process of branding ourselves and doing all of the things um, that go along with, creating the brand and putting out your own stuff and doing. So we have been doing a lot of demos in the studio. We had been recording a lot of songs, and what we thought was, in order for us to stay relevant, we need to have more output. We need to put out more. So the idea is that every 3 months or so, we were going to put out 3 songs, a 3-song EP, which was the whole thing behind Death Comes in Threes. What we would do is we would put out 3 joints every couple of months. And then at the end of it, release a full length, right? So that was the idea behind Death Comes in Threes. Um, Basically, we're putting out 3 every so often, and then at the end of that, we would do the full length, and basically that's what you see. And we do, we did everything. We got Charlemagne in to do some beats for us. We got some other talented dudes to do beats. And we basically are working it like that. We are basically right now in the process of trying to connect to get back into the studio to get this thing going again post pandemic. We are trying to figure out how we can get a couple of dates to do some performances, maybe overseas. We got a lot of things that we're working on. Now, as far as myself, man, I've been teasing people for ever. I've been teasing them like, do y'all really want a solo project? You know what I'm
You,
saying? I
you
keep,
you're like the J Electronica before J Electronica.
yeah, and I keep saying, and it's coming to a point now that I'm definitely um going to sit down and try to formulate something and do something. I am not going to say when. I'm not going to tell you. Uh, I can't give any dates or anything like that. But what I can tell you is that it's definitely going to happen. The last time I spoke to Charlamagne, we spoke and we talked about possibly getting in the studio together and doing some things. I was actually, he had a beat for me when the George Floyd thing was popping off. I felt strongly about it as he did. So he was like, yo, Vo, we need a verse for you from you on that. So he hit me with a beat. We were supposed to do something, but the pandemic also kind of derailed that. So, but we have been talking about doing things and possibly getting together to do something along those lines, you know. But at this moment, I don't really have anything in the works solo wise. But what I will tell you is that you will be seeing something. You will,
Very dope. Very
you,
dope.
yeah, yeah.
Mr. Voodoo, I appreciate everything you've done for the culture. I appreciate you joining us this evening and giving us a history lesson. And congratulations on the 25th anniversary of your hip hop quotable. Before we get out of here, can you shout out your media and where we can find everything, Mr. Voodoo and Natural Elements?
For me, I'm on Facebook. You can look up Instagram is mrvu718. I'm on Twitter also. I'm on Facebook. You know, I'm old school, so I don't have that social media savvy that the parts have, you know. So I can't tell you too much along those lines. But if you want to, you know, really stay connected, uh, Instagram, mrvu718, Facebook. I'm on there, Agu, Mr. Voodoo. You just type that in, it'll come right up. Um, and I'm on Twitter also, same thing. Agu, aka Mr. Voodoo. It'll come up. You'll see it, you know. And just stay tuned, you know. I definitely am in the process of formulating things and trying to get, you know, some stuff together. So, you know, stay tuned.
No doubt. Before we get out of here, any last words for your supporters who've been down with you since early 90s?
Yeah, I love all of y'all. My man DJ, Danny, Vintage. I see you, kid. Shout out to you. Oh man, my man, Godzilla, Godzilla. Yeah, Godzilla, Jaguar Paw. I see you, kid. Out there, love you, much love. Man, there's so many people. Charlamagne, Swigger, A Butter. Oh, my man Tim, Big Tim, G, wherever you at. Howie Smalls, H. Keith McAdams on Instagram. Howie Smalls is a day one dude. Yeah, my man Greg, my man E, my man. Oh man, there's so many people. Yo, everybody, anybody that's bumped my shit, anybody that told somebody, yo, you need to hear this dude. Yo, I love y'all. Y'all, you know, it's crazy because it's all unsolicited, and I'm here because of that. So I'm here because of y'all. I'm doing this interview right now because of y'all, you know?
And
So,
we appreciate that so much.
yeah. So it's just, I'm humble and I feel blessed, you know, after
No
all.
doubt.
So, yeah, man, it's much love to everybody out there that's within the earshot, that's on this live right now with me. I love y'all all.
Appreciate that. Let's keep in touch. This has been episode 140. That is the legendary Mr. Voodoo. I'm the journalist Sin-seer. Thank you so much, Mr. Voodoo.
No doubt. Thank you, brother.
All
And
right.
we could do this again. We could do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime you want to come back and you got something new, you just want to chop it up and let me know and we can make it happen.
We'll do. We'll
All
do.
right.
We'll
Shout
do.
out. All right. Peace.
Ace.